your popcorn, take a seat, and get ready to get weird. This is YYZ Video, your film book club of choice. As always, a friendly reminder, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ lives matter. This is Press YYZ's bi-weekly film review show where we take a series, starting with Pixar, and we're ranking them. I'm your host with the most, Mr. Mitch George, and joined, as always, by the man with blue hair, Nicholas Blaine.
I blew dabba-dee dabba-die.
Our obnoxious film student, Alex Ballant.
Rawr! That's my monster noise.
And
Do I scare the children?
Ho, TJ Beckham.
I'm filled with regret.
We are here for your viewing and listening pleasure on YouTube at youtube.com/PressYYZ, twitter.com/PressYYZ, anywhere you consume your podcasts of choice. And today, we will be discussing and dissecting Monsters Incorporated.
I'm Monsters Incorporated.
Let's get off.
I'm Monsters Incorporated.
Okay, I actually kept talking, but you guys interrupted me, so that sounded weird, but
You're
whatever.
good.
Initial thought. It's been a while since we did one of these.
Yeah.
I'm getting back into the swing of things. Initial thoughts, just high level. What did everyone think of the film? Alex?
So this is a very interesting film for me because the three films that we did previously, I really didn't have much nostalgia for because I never really watched them as a kid. Just because like Pixar films and Disney films were always very expensive to own on home video, and so because I was born after they had come out, they weren't really a part of my life. But this is like the
Disney Vault.
Yeah. So this is like the first one that I remember owning, and that we watched a lot. And like this is the first Pixar film that really resonates with me, like on a nostalgic level, and it still holds up. It is really, really good. And in a lot of ways, it's been a while since I've seen it, and I forgot how good it was. And this is really where like I firmly, and I think the Toy Story films do fall into this a little bit, but I really feel like Monsters Inc. is a film that like I'm appreciating a lot more now that I actually understand a lot of the context around the themes and stuff going into it. And so I loved it, and I'm surprised how much I really enjoyed it still.
Nick, thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree with a lot of sentiments that Alex has. Of course, like Toy Story is the series that it has the nostalgia for me in Pixar, but basically everything up to like 2007 I have a big nostalgia for, just because like those things just grew up with me, much like people talk about the Harry Potter movies. Fuck J.K. Rowling. But the thing of like the films kind of grow up with you. I mean, last year we had Soul, and that was an existentialist film. Like this is where I feel like we really start to get the let's dive into the deeper subject sort of topics, and I really appreciate that.
I'm leapfrogging into a bit of the facts, but it totally makes sense you felt that way about this movie because the director of this film was Pete Docter, the director of Up, Inside Out, and Soul, three of the most existential films in the Pixar cinematic universe. So totally makes sense.
But yeah,
Somebody should go check on him.
Yeah, right.
He's a wonderful human being.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of my
favorite
thoughts.
films of all time. So.
Yeah. So
so just to go ahead.
I would say let's go over to the guy who has seen this for the first time.
And then I was
okay. Oh yeah, Mitch. I forgot your.
Don't step on his toes.
Here. I'm present. I love this movie. This is one that we had the toys, we had the video game, like we had everything when it came to Monsters Inc. It was such a part of our childhood. Yeah, dude, the video game was actually terrible, but I loved it as a kid.
I'll look it up.
Specifically, the one on the PlayStation 1.
Okay, I'll look it up while you're talking.
Yeah, you do that. It was not great, but we had a ton of fun with that as kids. It was one of the only games that we owned on PS1, actually.
Is there?
I love this movie.
Speaking of the video games, was there a PC game where you were Mike Wazowski bowling? Because I have a very, very, very vivid memory of this, and I don't know if
Flash game?
I don't know if this is real or not.
Might have been a Flash game.
I'm gonna Google this because this is like
you guys do that. I'll continue to gush about this film. I think the main actors do a phenomenal job with the parts. I think the The message of the film is great, trying to stay close to your childhood and the whole idea of, you know, fear versus laughter, and I love it. I love everything this film brings. It's one of my favorite of all time. But as Nick tried to allude to, one of our hosts, this is the first, one of our hosts had not seen this film prior to this series. TJ, our friendship rides on what you're about to say. What did you think of Monsters Incorporated?
So yeah, as mentioned now, I have not seen. This is only one of 2 Pixar movies that I haven't seen before. And honestly, I can't say as to why. Like, is what 2001 this came out?
Mm-hmm. November 2nd, 2001.
Yeah, so 2001. So like, I was around the age where this would make sense. Like, I would have been what, 5 or 6, depending on the time.
You weren't that
like
much older.
It was 9
like-
when this came out, almost 10.
Anyways.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I saw Emperor's New Groove for my birthday when it came out. I don't know why that's relevant, but that popped into my mind.
It's not at
Back to
all
it,
relevant. Please continue.
But so like I hadn't, for some reason I've never seen it. Like, it's not that I never wanted to, or not that like I wasn't old enough. It's just as a kid I never had the urge to, and as an adult it kind of was just like I don't have an attachment to this, so I spent the time to watch it. So just kind of went unwatched for years. I have seen the sequel, oddly enough. I remember watching.
Wrong with you? I mean, technically,
I remember-
I get it
prequel,
though.
but-
Yeah, I remember watching Monsters University, but I don't I don't know why I never watched it first. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. It did feel a bit predictable, in terms of plot. I mean, it is a kids movie, so there's that. But
There's a
it
time
did
with
feel,
nature to all Pixar plots.
yeah, like it did feel predictable. The cast absolutely killed it. I mean, I remember, like, I don't hate Billy Crystal, but I also don't love him. It depends on the role. He killed it in this freaking movie. Same with John Goodman, fucking Steve Buscemi. Like, they all did great.
We'll get to the
jobs.
cast soon enough, but yes,
Yeah.
agreed on everything.
One thing I do want to say though, the animation for this movie, great, but the people were a downgrade from Toy Story 2. I think all of the kids, they looked too bug-eyed, like they looked like chinchillas to me.
Even Boo?
Yeah, but honestly, Boo compared to Al, like, night and day.
No, okay.
Al looks
So
so
there
much
were-
better.
They
TJ,
did
I don't
something
think you could
different on
say
this
that.
film. You can't. You can't. It's okay though. Something different they did on this film. There was actually a lead animator assigned to each of the film's 3 protagonists, Mike, Sully, and Boo. Which before, you know, all the human characters were handled by the same animation team, whatever. So there was a sense of individuality to Boo, from an animation perspective that I saw here versus the other human characters. I do agree. Some of the human characters look very generic or very much like that we've seen humans look like in prior Pixar films. At least it's not as bad as Tin Toy, but Boo I thought looked great.
It's something that, actually thinking about stuff, this is like the next film is the last film that really prominently features something else other than humans. Like, you think about
Or at
the
least a
films
little bit,
films
yeah.
leading up, it's like you have Toy Story, you have Toy Story 2, you have Bugs Life, and Monsters Inc. They're all about other things other than humans, and the humans are the secondary characters. So when we get to a few films down the line, like, you have that build up.
There's no need for suspense. People know the release order of Pixar.
I know. I'm just
Incredibles.
saying.
You're
I'm
talking
just
about The
trying to
Incredibles.
avoid
Okay.
future spoilers.
Okay. I don't think knowing the release order of films is a spoiler, but I'll leave it to that. I'll leave you to that. Okay, let's get into a few of the facts of this film.
Before we jump into that, I do want to just clear up
Yeah.
this game that I was referring to. It is a CD-ROM called Monsters Inc. Rec Room Arcade, and you have a bunch of different, like, there were 3 different game discs that you could get for it. I don't know where you acquired these from, but either way, and yeah, you play as Mike Wazowski bowling, and you have different, like, hazards and stuff to go down the lane with.
Do we have a
I'm
ranking
watching-
of the games?
No.
I
no,
can't remember.
we've only kind of been mentioning them.
Tangentially, yeah. I
we
think
have
it's-
too many rankings
yeah,
as it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the theme park. Well, I mean, the theme park rides we don't rank, but we're ranking Randy's.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah. I just wanted to state that this does exist because I could not remember if I made this up or not, or if I was thinking of something completely different. So I just wanted to clear that up for my own sake.
Yeah.
Understandable. I realized I didn't update our document with the name of the short, and I was going to get very confused when we got there. I can update that now. But as mentioned,
birds,
yes, we
the
will
birds
be
one.
going over some of the facts of the film. We'll be going through the plot. We got a special guest. We'll rank the film. We'll talk about rides. We'll do a lot of fun stuff. So please stick with us as we go through all the fun facts of Monsters Incorporated. Okay, so as mentioned previously, directed by Pete Docter, known for future Pixar films Up, Inside Out, and Soul. Once again, the man, the myth, the legend, Randy Newman composed all the music for the film. Monsters, Inc. was praised by critics and proved to be a major box office success from its release on November 2nd, 2001, generating over $570 million worldwide and was the third highest grossing film of 2001. This film won the first Academy Award for Pixar. It won the Academy Award for Best Original Song for If I Didn't Have You. Randy Newman won his first Oscar after 16 nominations for this song.
I believe it. The song,
Was
rips.
also nominated for Best Animated Feature, but lost to DreamWorks' Shrek. Was
Somebody
also
once
nominated
told
for Best Original Score and Best Sound Editing. This is Pete Docter's only Disney Pixar film that didn't win an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Up, Inside Out have both won, and we'll see about Soul. But as I mentioned, Monsters, Inc. did lose to Shrek. It is one of only 2 Pixar films at the time of this writing to have been nominated for the award without winning it, the other being Cars.
I just want to say, Pete Docter, if it were up to me, you'd won because this movie better than Shrek.
I agree.
Easily.
100%.
I think this fact might be a little out of date. I think there might have been other Pixar films that didn't win this award since then, so I should have fact-checked that first, and I apologize. It is the first Pixar film to win an Oscar, as I mentioned. But it lost the other 3 awards it was nominated for that year. As I mentioned, Best Animated Feature, it lost to Shrek. Best Original Score, it lost to The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. And Best Sound Editing, it lost to Pearl Harbor. As with many Pixar films, there was new technology that was built specifically for the way this film was made. For this film, it was the way that artists rendered fur and cloth. Boo was actually animated without cloth, just stick figure kind of like wire work, and the cloth was added afterwards to simulate realistic motion. And it took 11 to 12 hours to render a single frame of Sully because of the 2.3 million individually animated hairs on his body.
Jesus.
I 100%
Yeah.
believe it. The fur physics in this are
Yeah.
something for 2001.
They spent a lot of money there. A lot of money,
Yeah.
a lot of time. Let's get into a bit of the cast. John Goodman portrays James P. Sullivan, a huge, furry blue ogre with horns. He's the best scarer at Monsters Incorporated and has been for a long time coming. And Nick is channeling his inner Sully right now.
I wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you.
Billy Crystal plays our short, one-eye, round, green monster, Mike Wazowski. Mary Gibbs, a 2-year-old, plays Boo. Fun fact, they couldn't get her to record her lines, so they just followed her around with a microphone and used whatever noises they got as the noises for Boo in the film. Steve Buscemi portrays Randall Boggs, the purple 8-legged lizard monster who has a strange rivalry with Sully and Mike. James Coburn portrays Henry J. Waternoose III, so the boss of Monsters Incorporated, also known for Disney's Snow Dogs, where he played Jack something.
I mean, I don't know if he sounds like he's known at that point.
Yeah.
Jack
He's been in other
something?
stuff. That's just the one that when I heard that and I saw when I heard the voice and I saw the picture, I'm like, that is what's his face from
I just
that
know
other
him.
thing.
I just know him from kidnapping 1,000 children before letting this company die. You know?
Fun fact: another actor was also considered for this role. One Sir Patrick Stewart,
I could see it.
Ooh,
see that.
was-
Yeah.
Thunderjack. Sorry, I'm being told by the audience. Thunderjack is
Yes.
the character I'm thinking of from Snow Dogs.
Gotcha.
Jennifer Tilly portrays Celia May, Mike's girlfriend. Bob Peterson plays Roz. Bob Peterson's actually an employee of Pixar, and he just did a voice for Roz as a stand-in during the recording, and they liked it so much they left it in the film. As with all Pixar films, John Ratzenberger had his cameo as the Yeti, aka the Abominable Snowman, towards the end of the film. Frank Oz portrayed Jeff Fungus, Randall's assistant, which blew my mind when I realized that. And
You can
another
hear it.
interesting small cameo, the female monster instructor near the beginning of the film, portrayed by one Bonnie Hunt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the facts I got. I got some trivia I can sprinkle throughout the plot, but we're doing something a little different with this episode. We've gotten our 4 core host opinions on the film, but we're going to do something different and pull Carmi's Corner from the end of the show right up near the top. So I'm going to get my wife to come in, give her thoughts on the film and all the other things I never hear because I walk away.
Where's the theme song, Nick?
Oh, sorry, I was time stamping. What was it? Carmi's Corner, what she gonna say? It's Carmi's Corner. Is it gonna be conspiracy, or is it gonna be Carmi? That one,
Sorry, what?
that one's the new and improved one. I like that
Yeah,
one.
I was gonna say definitely not the last one.
Nope.
But it's
Nope.
You know.
I missed it completely. I was scraping
You'll-
Mitchell's.
hey, It'll
ear
give you
junk
It'll give you
out of
something
the
to watch.
Those
To watch
headphones
the
you
episode
use.
for. You know. Maybe you watch the episode now. Maybe now you figure out what the Carmi's Corner is. You know.
Exactly.
Maybe now I should
You,
watch
you have
it.
to watch. I have to watch the episode.
You watch it?
Let's get into Carmi's Corner.
How you doing, Carmi?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
How was your birthday? Did you have a good birthday
was-
this week?
It was good.
Nice.
I did nothing because it's my first round of COVID birthdays.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
How's
it
it
was
feel?
fun. It was good. I feel old. I think I got a new food allergy, which isn't good. But
Ooh,
I
that's
found
fun.
out on Saturday? Saturday. Ugh. Not good. But oh well, it's fine. I'm okay. I'm alive. I wore makeup so you guys didn't see my blotchiness of my face. It's
Just
just all broken out.
Makeup.
Makeup.
All right, what'd you think about Monsters Incorporated?
This is one of my favorite Pixar movies. This is probably my top 3. It's my top my top 2 spot of my top 3 Pixar Disney movies.
Okay.
Yes, I like this one a lot. I love the comedy. We had a watch party a couple weeks ago with the Press YYZ Discord group, and we were just howling the whole time.
He's gonna plug.
That's Discord,
Yeah.
discord.gg/pressyYZ.
I saw the plug. I saw the plug face.
Oh, stop it. You wouldn't let me sit there and jump in, but you can. That's not fair. Yeah,
Host of the show.
yeah, no, the comedy's on point. It's for adults and for children. A lot of the jokes when we were kids, I'm just like, whoa,
Goes
that's what
right
that
over your
meant.
head. Yep.
It goes right over your head.
Well, it's like the thing of Frank Oz's character just getting like sucked off, straight up sucked off.
Those DSL.
Even still, when I watch this, kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah. That was like
That's
horror
horrifying.
vibes.
But
Yeah, but it's like I can hear you, Nick, on the when we're watching, just howling
Jesus.
of laughter. TJ, what did you think of it? It was your first time watching it.
It was good. It was a bit predictable, but it was, as you said, it was very funny. There were a lot of jokes that when they popped up, like when I was in the watch party, and they just got me. I very much was into it.
Now you see why I liked it so much. Like,
Now, do you
it's
have any
it's my top-
conspiracies for
Yes,
Mhm.
I have
this
2.
one?
I have 2. Oh, 3. I have 3 today. So
Alright.
the first one, Mitchell will bring it up, and I think in a little bit when the plot happens. But there is a scene in the movie when the CDA when the CDA first comes in, and one of the
2319.
monsters yells a 2319.
Mm-hmm.
So what I always understood what a 2319 was a WS, which is a white sock.
Oh.
Oh.
23, yeah, 20,
letter
the
number.
letters in the alphabet. Or, yeah, so that's why I always thought it
Oh,
was.
I had no idea.
Oh.
I found an
damn.
alternate to this, and that's I think what
That's
Carmen
what I'm
was
gonna bring
thinking-
up.
bringing up is 2319. You reverse it, and you've got 1923, which is the year that Walt Disney arrived in California.
Huh. Huh.
Back to yours.
All right, thanks, Mitch.
You're
That
welcome.
was- thanks.
I'm helping.
I'm helping. I'm Monsters Incorporated.
The next one is Boo. So Boo could be the witch from
Oh
Brave.
yeah, I've heard this.
We
one.
haven't watched Brave yet, but she, when she gets older, she has the ability to time travel through the doors. I've never actually seen Brave, so I don't know how to
Same.
really test this, but Mitch has, and he told me this as well. So when she goes through everything, she's able to advance herself through, I guess, the eras and stuff of everything that's going on in Brave. And then there's carvings of like the doors and everything, and there's some blue wisp on her. Again, I've never seen it, so I don't know. That's Sully. So she took all that from. Okay, Mitch, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say there's also a wood carving of Sully in her.
See,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never seen it, so I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is like
Mhm.
I've always that's the one thing. It's like the overall like overarching theory of Pixar being one big universe, which would be interesting to see. Like especially the world that we live in right now with things like WandaVision's happening, like one of the craziest things to happen, and just to have a general audience just understand this multiverse sort of thing.
100%.
It's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe just in general. Like it'll be interesting to see if Pixar kind of picks up on that and kind of runs with it at some point. But
Back to this point at Brave, because I from what I remember of the movie, I feel like this so far is the biggest conspiracy theory that doesn't have legs in my eyes. But I also have only seen Brave once, so we'll
We'll get
come
there
back
when
to
we
this
get there.
when we get to Brave.
Yeah, like I've only seen I know Rachel's gonna kill me when she's on, but like I've only seen like the first maybe 10 minutes of Brave, and then that's it.
I've seen like I've seen like 30 minutes into Brave.
I haven't seen it.
It's so good.
Okay, well when
It's
we
good.
get there, we
We'll
get
get
there.
there.
How many
We'll
more
get
movies
there.
how many movies are left until we get there?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah,
it's
We'll
a
get there when we
while,
get there.
yeah.
We'll get there in the fall. Most likely,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
We'll be there spring.
The other thing that adds credence to this is the first film that kind of introduces the concept of magic
Yeah.
through
Mhm.
the doors. So the fact that ties in so closely to Boo as a character adds more credence to that fan theory.
Yeah, and the other one was that she could be Violet from The Incredibles. I don't understand that one, honestly.
That one I don't think because
That one makes more sense to me.
There's a
Really?
picture in her room that says her name is Mary. Like her name is revealed as a character to be Mary, so I don't know how much.
It's
credence
in the
that one has.
background. I won't count it as a reveal. But like it just makes more sense to me than she's a witch that can travel through time, because like she's obviously older. She's obviously from at least the 1950s to modern day because she has a Jessie doll in her room.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was
So,
gonna point that out. Yeah,
Oh,
she could
yeah,
be
I
Andy's
heard-
mom.
She
Yeah,
also has
there's
a Nemo toy.
yeah.
That's
so,
also
like,
true.
there's-
But this was before Nemo was a thing.
It is.
How old
Yeah.
was that girl? Or how old is Bonnie?
Like 8 maybe. No, she's in preschool, so
Okay.
she's like 5 or 6.
that
maybe?
that just ruled out. So I'm like, I just got goosebumps.
I mean,
Oh my God, how about we
that
go
could
back
be
in time
possible.
for Toy
Boo
Story
is a
3?
nickname for. Well, I mean, Boo's because she says Boo, but like
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
Bonnie.
She might be Bonnie's mom. Is that what you're
Bonnie.
saying?
But Boo had Jessie before Bonnie would have had Jessie, right?
I know, that's what I mean. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, how about if Toy Stories goes back?
Well, what if like
How
they
about
have like a
that
Toy
actually
Story
makes it
5
awesome?
and there's just like 2 Woodies, there's 2 Jessies, there's
Toy Story 5 is the multiverse.
Yeah, it's a
introduction of the
multiverse.
Yeah.
Pixar's
Oh my God, it's
universe.
like Lightyear.
recast Tom Hanks as Jim Hanks. You know,
So you just want Kingdom Hearts is what you
I
want.
just want Kingdom Hearts. I just want. I
No,
don't. I
but
just
nobody said
I
that.
just want Kingdom Hearts. That's I'll say that. But
Yeah, so that's
Alright.
everything that I have for today for conspiracies.
This has
Do
been-
you guys know any Monsters Inc. conspiracies that?
no, that's I mean, you
From-
kind of covered it.
I mean, from my understanding of the Pixar theory, that Monsters Inc. is supposed to be at like the end of the timeline, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, because they're using
Yep.
like time travel to go back to harvest screams because there's no more humans.
Mhm.
That's kind of
I thought
that's
WALL-E
like
was.
No,
No,
WALL-E's
after-
like
this is
the
after humans have
resurgence.
come back,
That's
repopulated
right.
the world, and then
Yeah,
everything's
yeah.
mutated and changed.
We'll get to it. When we
Yeah.
get
When
to
did
it.
that happen?
We'll get
That's
to it
the
when we get to
theory.
it.
yeah.
Oh, the theory.
But we'll do it the end review.
We'll do an in review of in review.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
So
We'll go back through everything and just like edit like things out.
might
No,
be,
no,
there might be
we'll do
stuff
a
in
big
plans.
podcast when
I'm
we
just
get together.
saying there might be some plans.
We're working
Oh,
on
yeah.
some stuff.
Cool.
So
All right, thanks, honey.
All right.
Carmen's corner,
Thanks, Carmen.
Carmen's
Thank you, Carmen.
corner. I don't remember what I sang, but it's Carmen's corner. Conspiracies. I don't know. Hey, look at Disney.
Oh,
It's a procedurally generated theme song.
And this is procedurally generated plot summary. So the
Exactly.
film opens on a child's bedroom. We get a monster sneaking his way in, and turns out he's scared to shit of the kid in the bed. It's a simulation. There's training. It's so bizarre, and I love it so
I love
much.
it. I loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was gonna say I loved it, like the opening of it, and I'm just like, okay, this is like what's going on, and then it revealed it's simulation. It's just like that was so fucking cool to me. Like I thought
Yeah.
it's just like that they exist. Oh,
I think the thing too about saying like the human characters looked a little more bug-eyed, a little more artificial. They were, for the most part, right? The only humans we see are Boo and animatronics, really, right?
Well, we see
For
that
the
that
most part.
one
the most part.
at the end. We see the one kid who with the laughs and stuff.
Yes, the one kid with the laughs where Mike's in the room. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it kind of makes sense that Boo is the only one that looks really human. But either way, we can move on. Yeah, so Flem he broke the cardinal rule. Water News comes in and berates him for having left the door open. You cannot allow children to enter the world of Monstropolis because they're evil and poison and will murder you and weird other things like that. We were introduced to the concept that screams are how they generate power for their city, which
all
is
right.
I saw.
Alright.
I just want to say I
Stop
saw.
forming.
I saw the how does this work get formulated in real time. If you look, if you go back in the playback and look at both of our faces, he goes.
I was gonna say I'm waiting for it, and this one it's gonna be a fucking doozy, okay? Because I got a bunch of books
Okay.
to pick here.
the answer is
Alright.
magic.
No. First and
Uh-huh.
foremost, scream power. Who invented it? What monster is just like, dude, we can harvest this kid's fucking chortles and fucking like put it in a
don't know if I'd say
canister
that.
and power our gas and our gas and our electricity and power our world with it.
I mean, maybe.
Like, how do you discover that?
I mean, maybe that's what we need. Maybe that's what we need. I'm just saying.
Also, the beggar question: if someone's smart enough to invent the harvesting of screams, why didn't they just invent solar power? They have a sun. Like, why isn't this just run off of solar or wind power, people?
Yo,
Maybe it's just more efficient, or it generates more energy, or something. Their grid is too reliant on the output of screams
They
as
don't-
opposed to the output of solar.
they ain't a part of this Scream New Deal. You know what I'm saying?
I hate you both so much. That's terrible.
It's just I'm sitting there in like the movie. I'm like, it bugged me so much watching through the movie. It's just like, how does this happen? How do you take a sound and turn it into energy?
See,
I mean,
See,
sound
you're thinking really
energy, right?
limited right now. People, they saw wind, they're like, how do you turn wind into energy? Boom, years later, we got wind. Same with sunlight. You can't question it. the monsters are
to the point
yeah.
that screams make the most sense for their energy.
Do you
Yeah.
do you think that the end of Endgame, like just the hype screams at like the opening night at Endgame, then maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should go into theaters.
Do man children screams count?
Yeah, I was gonna say like maybe we go into a theater the next Marvel movie release and we collect all the energy. We won't have an energy crisis anymore.
I mean, we can go back to theaters at some point.
Assuming we can go back to theaters.
Okay,
All right.
let's keep going.
That's
Let's keep
all I
going.
have for now. I'm gonna touch back on this in a bit, though.
I know you
Okay.
are. We are then introduced to our film's main characters, Sully and Mike. We wake up to a fun training montage where Mike's running Sully through the bunk bed scene and having him brush his teeth. And the one thing that stood me is,
Sorry.
get that plaque. Scary monsters don't have plaques. Yeah.
Get that plug.
You're
was
right,
so
Mike
funny.
Wazowski. Interesting facts here about the characters of Mike and Sully. Another actor who was originally considered for the role of Sully was Bill Murray. He screen tested for the role and was interested, but Peak Doctor tried to call him repeatedly and was unable to make contact, and he took that as a no.
I think I like Goodman better, but Bill Murray hasn't been in one yet though.
Bill Murray has not been in a Disney Pixar film to the best of my knowledge.
We need Pixar. You need to change that.
John Goodman and Billy Crystal sometimes recorded their lines in the same room, which is unusual for voice recording for animated films. Steve Buscemi and Frank Oz also did that for the bathroom scene, which we'll talk about in a bit. And as we mentioned in our Toy Story review episode, Billy Crystal was offered the role of Buzz Lightyear and declined, which he later regretted. So when Pixar called about anything, without even knowing the role, he accepted immediately, knowing how well received Toy Story was.
And with good reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, we get the I'm Monsters Incorporated commercial, which is a nice, fun introduction to the plot of the world, and the ongoing gag that Mike wants to be made famous by some form and always has his face blocked out.
It's one of
Always
the
loved it.
It's so good.
one of the only good things Kingdom Hearts has ever done is on the ad cover of the PlayStation magazine that had the Kingdom Hearts Monsters Inc. Mike Wazowski's face is covered by like one of the in-game ads or like one of the ads for
There's
a
like a
different
barcode
game.
or something,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's amazing, incredible. Only good thing Kingdom Hearts has ever done.
Listen, I'm watching you, Alex. I'm watching you. We'll get you. We'll get you.
I got no horse in this race.
Okay, we then get them walking to work because there's an energy crisis. They come up to an intersection where Sully greets Ted, a monster so large you only see the lower half of his body. Ted was originally supposed to roar like Godzilla. Filmmakers reached out to Toho, the film studio behind Godzilla, to use the roar, but they turned them down. So instead, Ted responds with a chicken cluck.
I've always wondered that. I'm just imagining what the top half of that monster is with the chicken cluck, but it makes a whole lot more sense if they did that with the but
I like that more.
yeah, I like that more. The atomic
Okay,
breath, the Godzilla scream is like so overused at this point.
Yeah.
Almost as overused as the Wilhelm scream.
Exactly.
Okay, and then we arrive at Monsters Incorporated, where we are greeted by Celia, Mike Wazowski's Schmutzy. No, he's Schmutzy Poo. She's Googly Bear. I forget their pet
Yeah,
names. for each other, but
Schmutzy
it's
and Googly
adorable.
Bear. And then Celia Wheelia is what
Celia Wheelia, yeah.
is what Sully.
And then you get the whole thing of they're setting up their date for later, and you get the whole you and me and you and us together.
Both
of us I quote to this day.
So two things. One, back to the Where Monsters Incorporated bit. Took me a little too long when we were watching that to realize they're saying "Where am I?" not "Where am I?" And it's just something dumb that I wrote down in my notes that I feel like
We're Mission Impossible.
Then
I'm so
the
sorry.
thing with this, so I've got two little notes. One, and I don't want to spend a lot of time with it, but her hair, it's obviously attracted to Mike.
How does
Just-
that involve in the bedroom?
Yes, that's all I'm saying. Like, I need to know.
I'm just
We
saying.
didn't want to talk about anything Nick had to edit out. You bring up
Oh no,
I'm just-
this
I'm
is
just
don't get me wrong.
saying
TJ's
They're
this is
good
staying in.
ropes. They're
They're-
good ropes.
This is staying in.
All right,
I
and then
hate all of
two,
you.
her hair. she can't get a haircut, can she? It's murder if she gets a haircut.
Yo, that's a great
When you
point.
saw the snakes react, I think it's in the restaurant scene where she asked if she asked Mike if she should cut her hair. He's like, no, I love it the way it is. And the snakes are relieved, which makes me think, have they been cut before?
they
and
been
had to
cut
grow
before?
back?
Maybe they're like a
Like,
Hydra.
I would say, is it like Hydra of Kingdom Hearts 2?
I was
No,
gonna say God of War
Hercules.
1, but you know.
Hercules.
I was
No,
gonna say
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Hercules.
I don't know what Hercules. I don't know it.
That's the world they're in.
Nah,
Look at Kingdom
it's
Hearts.
in
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Here we're
You mean the
introduced to a
worst
few
Kingdom
more
Hearts level?
characters. We're introduced to Randall as Assistant Fungus. We meet Roz. And there's a fun little montage where they're like walking out, like it's almost like a lunar, like an astronaut thing, where they're walking up to the scare floor, and they're like all prepared to go about their day. There's a fun thing where Randall's practicing his camouflage ability, and they pull down a couple of backdrops, and one of the
One
ones
of them
they
is
pull
Toy
down is
Story.
the wallpaper in Andy's room,
Mhm.
which makes me think, is Randall Andy's monster if he's practicing with that specific wallpaper?
Yo, but later on, and I saw this today.
I saw this too. I
Yeah,
saw this too.
yeah, okay.
We'll get to it. We'll get
okay,
to
we'll
it.
get
I
to it.
think
We'll get
I
to
have
it.
it
We have
here
the same. I would say we probably
somewhere.
have the same thing. The Sid thing. The Sid thing. You're talking
The
about
Sid thing,
The
yep.
Sid thing. Okay.
I actually don't
So-
know if I have it in. We'll talk about it now.
Yeah, yeah.
After TJ.
So this scene, I'm jumping like a second or two ahead in the plot. So like the one monster gets the sock on him, the CDA come in, or whatever it's called.
2319. We got a 2319. It's the
Yeah,
CDA.
and they blow up the sock. Hilarious scene. Absolutely loved it. But I have questions here. First and foremost, I have 3 questions. We're diving in, guys. We're diving in. How does this
Let's
work?
just jump into
Scream
it. though,
harvesting. Fucking scream harvesting. This is their world's power source. They've decided to forego solar and wind, and they're harvesting screams. Why aren't there motherfuckers working on this 24/7? Why did they
You
shut
need
down the
rest?
floors? Get more people. Have it so you have people constantly on and off.
Bum,
Power
bum,
plants
bum,
these
bum,
days
bum,
have that.
bum.
As we discover in the prequel film Monsters University, not to really get into future spoilers, it's difficult to make it as a scarer. So there's probably just the criteria to be a good scarer. It would probably cost them more in energy to
Listen.
run the plant with bad scarers than it would to just shut it down when the good
And-
scarers head home.
And we do see that a lot of them not great scares. But the thing is, as somebody who's trying to make it in the games industry, let me tell you, things aren't easy. When everyone wants when everyone wants that piece of the pie, things aren't easy. You got resources.
So just
you got all the.
Before TJ gets into the next, how does this work? We'll get into a little bit because we were talking about going into and out of the doors. We see Randall come out of a door, and there's a poster on the wall.
No.
room he comes
It's
out of.
not Randall. It's the guy with the claws.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
the dude with the claw hands comes out of a room, and he's terrified. He's, oh my god, they almost touched me, man. She
Yeah.
almost touched
Yep.
me. The poster on the wall is the one from Sid's room.
Yep.
So was the girl that tried to scare this monster Sid's younger sister?
Why would she be in his room?
Maybe he went to military camp and she got
Oh,
the bigger
he
room?
does.
I
He
don't
does
know.
mention little girl. That little girl almost got
He does
me.
mention little girl. That's why I
Unless
said it had
they-
to be the sister. It wouldn't
well,
be Sid.
I would say unless they moved out and like that poster was like stuck up there, like
Maybe.
Sid, gross human being.
Yeah.
Sid's
true.
terrible. Okay, TJ, back to
Alright.
how does this work? And I actually have a how does this
Next.
work here too, but I'll let you go.
Doors.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
How
That was
the
mine.
hell does the doors work? First and foremost, they only work when they're active or touching a power source. Okay, what powers them? How do they connect it? Once they're destroyed, as we find out later in the film, they don't have that connection unless they're put back together. What makes that connection? How do they find these doors? Like,
Well,
how the hell?
they're powered by screams or emotion because we
Yeah.
see later in the film that Boo's able to activate all of them with a
Right.
laugh. So
Yeah.
there's something that tapping into their energy grid. So at some point, some way, a kid must have crossed over into the
Well-
monster world and these things were discovered.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be an interesting. Like I do want the how does this work for Toy Story, like an Imagineering story, but like have it set in each Toy Story world and be like, how does this work, and kind of go
Pixar
through
world.
that. Yeah, or Pixar World. Sorry.
No
And yes, I think the screams, like it's like almost like a network, like the network powers each sort of
connected, man.
yeah, like they each power
They're on the
each,
grid, yeah.
Yeah, like it's a power grid that like plugging it into an outlet.
So essentially, the monster world is reboot.
Kind of.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You nailed it.
Also, fun little fact: this is the 4th film that John Goodman and Steve Buscemi have done together, but the first of the 4 not to be directed and produced by Joel and Ethan Coen.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Hey.
Big Lebowski. Big Lebowski. Oh, I'm trying to think of the other ones.
I can remember.
Yeah,
That's the only one I
that's the
know.
only I could think.
All right, DJ,
Yeah.
back to your. How does this work?
All right, the last one, CDA. So why are there more people working for the CDA than there are people who are helping run and power their civilization?
Because maybe they believe humans are so dangerous that they need to have this extreme task
Well, and
force
that's the
to
thing
take
too.
them out.
As we've seen, single-handedly, once something breaks out, it breaks out everywhere and fast. And let me tell you, if you ignore it, there's casualties. Things
Yeah, they
happen.
have a good
If only we
response
had a
team.
response.
If
similar to the CDA,
exactly,
I will-
if only we had our own CDA. Okay, maybe we would be podcasting together. I'm just saying. 2319 keep us safe.
And then, just side note, as someone in public relations, the first thing I had to call out was that the CDA needs a better PR spokesperson. That interview that they gave after that restaurant scene, atrocious.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's it. That's all I've got for now.
Okay. the only
TJ,
thing
where
I
should
wanna
they
a-
send the resume letter?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, where do they?
So-
Where can you send the cover letter?
So as we mentioned, George Sanderson has his 2319 incident, and here it is confirmed that some monsters in this world do in fact have nipples. There's a fun scene. There's a fun scene after the scare floor closes where Mike.
The nonchalantness, like with Mitch being such the straight man of this operation, it's like I'm just like, oh, he's gonna spout a fact. It's like it's the first Pixar movie that has a hair shaving off hair. No, nipple characters.
It's our film to feature nipples.
I appreciate that, Mitch.
we're
I
aware of.
appreciate that.
Okay. Moving on, scare floor closes. They're closing up for the night. Mike asks if he can borrow some of Sully's odorant, which I thought was really fun. It's not deodorant, but it's odorant. And it turns out Mike forgot to fill out his paperwork before going on his date with Celia. Sully offers to cover for him and walks back to their booth on the scare floor, where he notices a door in one of the stations. Randall's appears to be cheating. He comes out of a room with some extra screens. Some extra canisters. The room that he's coming out of, you actually see through the door when he's leaving a Luxo Junior, the ball, the Pixar ball, which is fun. And in comes Boo. And chaos ensues. That whole scene in the locker room of Boo chasing Sully and the bag and throwing all the child stuff down the toilet and clogging the toilet and oh my, it's just comedy gold. Comedy gold. But Sully then crashes Mike's date at Harryhausen's restaurant,
Yep.
trying to alert Mike that there has in fact been a child-related incident in the world. And it's here when we get to the restaurant that we actually see the Chinese takeout containers that you see throughout the Pixar cinematic universe, another connecting thread. So we saw them in the carnival, or the town in Bug's Life. We've seen them, I think, in Toy Story 2. At one point you see them. I'm trying to remember where. It's in Al's apartment. You see the takeout containers.
Oh yeah.
This
Sorry,
restaurant scene has a joke that hit me so hard, where once the CD are there and like there's the newscast going on, someone's just like saying the horrible things kids have done, and someone's like, a kid like killed my dog, and someone's like, it's true, I saw the whole thing.
They came up and threw me across the room with their mind powers.
yeah.
Well, I love the little nod too. Speaking of the restaurant, the little nod that they have with the octopus monster having the cut tentacle. Like you see it wrapping around the tentacle.
Yeah. Actually, this is in this scene is the first hint of a future Pixar film. There's actually a bust of Nemo hanging on the wall in the restaurant.
Huh. That's kind of fucked up.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Boo gets out of the bag. Chaos ensues at the restaurant. The CDA installs a dome over the restaurant to, I guess, decontaminate it. Fun fact about this scene was changed very late in production because originally the restaurant was going to be demolished. It was going to be blown up similarly to the sock. But this film released November 2nd, 2001, and you can imagine why they changed it to not destroy a building.
Ooh.
So, where were we? So now we're heading back to Mike and Sully's apartment. Fun fact about Sully's chair, it's got a big hole in the back. Because
Yeah, I
everyone
like
always
that hole.
thought, where the hell does Sully put his tail when he sits in that chair? Turns out there's a hole for it.
For all the
We got a
stuff.
fun scene of them like trying to corral Boo and like decontaminate everything. Mike sprays decontaminant in his eye, which is not something anyone should do ever.
Especially when you have one eye.
Yeah. And we see Boo start to cry because Mike takes away a toy that Sully was using to distract her, and the screaming causes a power surge, and then she laughs at Mike doing something stupid, and the entire power on the block goes out. Our first hint that laughter is more powerful than screams. Sully then puts Boo to sleep in his gigantic, I have to assume it's like a California King times 7 size bed for this 2-year-old infant. And we actually have a hidden Mickey in this scene. So for those who don't know, a hidden Mickey in Disney and Pixar and everything is an instance where you see the silhouette of Mickey in places that's not expected. The what's it called? The backboard of the bed,
headboard.
the headboard of the bed. There's like two circle, like it's cylindrical or it's circular, and then there's two smaller circles in the corners to silhouette Mickey's ears, which I thought was a fun little,
okay.
fun little Easter egg there.
TJ,
and-
just real quick. TJ, bed mattress names, real dumb, right?
Real dumb.
Real dumb.
Coming as someone who just accidentally bought the wrong size sheets for their bed, mattress name's real dumb.
What the hell did he just say? King Dewey
California
Decimal
King.
System? The Cavalry King
You've
Dewey
got-
Decimal
you've got
System
your
15?
You've got your twin bed, you've got your double bed, you've got your queen, your king. Oh well, and a double is also known as a full. You've got your queen, your king, your California king.
Adulting is
Not
dumb.
that hard, TJ.
A twin should not be the same as a single.
Right, here.
Multiple names for the same thing. You've got your twin, you've got your single, you've got your double, which is also called a full.
Okay,
and then
but
queen,
why is
king,
a twin and
California
a
king.
single called the same thing when literally one of them means two?
Let me see.
Because
This
back
box
in the
right here?
day,
This box right here?
Couples would buy
Pandora.
two twin beds. Because in
And I opened
the 50s, 60s, whatever, and we saw this in WandaVision actually, not spoiling anything, but they slept in separate beds, and that's what it would be: is you'd buy two twin beds when you were a couple, as opposed to one single bed when you're 12. And any normal human being who is not 12 would know you don't sleep in a goddamn single bed at the age of 26, TJ.
I'm 25, thank you very much. And the 50s are dumb, and the bed names are dumb, and let's move on.
You tell him, TJ.
Okay, so Mike and
Yeah,
Sully know
you
they gotta
got
get
him.
Boo back in her door some way, and that's when we get the fun scene where they re-enter Monsters Incorporated. They dress her up, and they're scheming. And finally, for the first time in one of these movies, someone actually heard someone scheming about something and didn't just ignore it for the plot. So when called out for this, Mike says they're writing a play called "Put This Thing Back Where It Came From," or "So Help Me." I mean, you want to try it, Nick? I don't know
Put
how
that
the
thing
plays
back where
go.
it came from. So
Where it
help
came
me.
from.
So help me. So help me. I just can't deny.
No, we're not doing the whole thing. We're not doing the whole thing. That's for the end of
She's
the
out
film.
of our head.
Okay, so Mike and Randall actually make a deal at this point to get Boo back in her door because Randall's not an idiot and can realize they're covering for something. But unfortunately, at the same time, Sully loses Boo and sees one of her eyes go into a trash compactor, follows it, which begins the most terrifying scene in any Pixar film where this character believes a 2-year-old infant he is caring for has been crushed to death.
Yeah, no, this is terrifying.
No, this scene is hilarious.
I mean, it's funny.
It's funny
but-
for us as the audience, but to be that character.
Yo, we
Like,
went
she should've
through
been
Toy
broken at
Story.
that point.
We went through Toy Story. Okay, there
Yeah,
ain't
we
there ain't
worked
nothing
that.
terrifying about this scene.
I
have battle scars.
Somewhere in this section of the movie, they comment on getting banished, and they said that mythological creatures like the Minotaur
Loch
were
Ness,
banished,
Yeah.
and Loch Ness, and that was
Sasquatch.
awesome. Like
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
thought, like, great little
Like,
tidbit for
name
world
drops.
building.
Well, and
Uh,
it pays off towards the end of the film.
And also, for some reason, I have a note. I believe Mike makes a joke at some point about something being too Greek. Got me. That's all I
he's
have written
green.
is too Greek. So
Okay. So it turns out Boo had actually found another group of kids, and she's blended in some way, and she teaches them all to say Mike Wazowski, which is fun.
Mike Wazowski.
So Sully and Mike are reunited, and Sully lets Mike know the kid's been killed. And it's like, look, if you listen close enough, you can still hear her. And you know, he hears them in the distance, Wazowski! And we get this whole fun tidbit of they get reunited and everything. And then Mike lets Sully know he's got a plan, that Randall's going to help, and Sully knows there's something up. Like, Randall's scheming. So when the door's there, he won't put Boo back in. Mike goes through the door, and of course, as expected, Randall is hatching a plot of some sort, captures Mike, and takes him away. I'm trying to remember if anything else happens in here. No, so Sully and Boo follow. There's a weird, spooky hidden tunnel. And we're presented with the Scream Extractor, which... God, that's terrible.
The blowjob machine. They couldn't call it the blowjob machine.
which, when I say, so, like, it shows the one character with this machine, like, their lips go huge.
Fungus.
It reminded me when I was a kid, where you'd put a cup up to your mouth.
Yeah, yeah. I get you, TJ. I get you.
Yes, I did that as a kid, not a 25-year-old.
And then where you just use your, like, inhale while the cup's on your mouth for the audio listeners, so it sticks to your face. And then, like, I've done that a couple times when I was a little older than a kid, where it made my lips
last
get
week,
super
right?
swollen.
He did it
Yeah.
when he watched the movie, and Nick's
Yeah,
doing it right
100%.
now. So.
I tried to do it. I don't know if the microphone captured it, but
So yeah, like you said, Fungus has... God damn it, stop! Fungus has the color drained from his entire being, which is also terrifying. And the three of them are able to get away, but they are also intercepted by Water Noose, who earlier in the day had asked Sully to do a Scream demo for the new recruits.
they're still going.
And does said Scream demo, not knowing Boo is standing right beside him, and scares the ever-living chagrin out of this 2-year-old who thinks he's just a big, fluffy kitty.
There was still
but
coffee
this-
in that coffee cup.
I'm trying to host the podcast.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
This is also one of the most emotional moments in the entire movie as well.
Yeah, and we're talking about suction cupping cups to your face.
You gotta have the levity, you know.
At this point, the entirety of the plot is revealed to Water Noose as he discovers that the child that's been with Mike and Sully all day is in fact the child Boo, and says we're gonna fix this. We're gonna get everything back to normal. Everything's gonna be the way it was, and summons a door, but it's not Boo's door. And Water Noose says, "Of course not. It's yours," and pushes Mike and Sully into the human world. Which, God, that twist. You never see it coming as a kid. TJ, you can't say that because you're an adult and you saw it for the first time as a grown-ass adult who sucks
also-
cups to his face. But
It's also a very convenient Pixar plot
Yeah,
twist.
yeah.
I mean, we saw it literally in the last movie.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, the guy who seems to be all trusting and all kind of like, he's like the gentle kind of like almost father figure, and then just immediately betrays the
Oh.
protagonist.
Literally, my notes are like, who could have seen the big bad boss who looked and sounded evil was evil, especially when you literally see him what looks like drinking a cup of liquefied turds.
Yeah,
At
it
the
was
start
I
of the
forgot
movie.
that.
straight
Sludge.
oil.
okay, well at this point we're At this point, we see Mike and Sully have been banished to the Himalayas, and we're introduced to the Abominable Snowman, a.k.a. Ham, a.k.a. John Ratzenberger, the cornerstone of almost every Pixar film. He offers them some yellow snow cones and promises they're lemon, because
Which it got me.
that's where everyone's thoughts first went, is that those are not lemon.
Even as a kid, I thought that. Don't eat the yellow snow, kids.
Sully is still fixated on Boo, knows he has to save her from Waternoose and Randall, whatever they have planned with the Scream Extractor, because at this point, with the plot having been revealed, with Randall being involved, Waternoose was behind it all, basically. So he heads to the village to find a door to get back to the monster world. He's able to free Boo from the machine and destroys it. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
There's a moment here. So Mike bitches out Sully.
He really
and
does.
says, and he's 100% right. Sully is a dickhole. He like on this quest, like, yes, sure, save the kid, whatever, blah blah blah,
Save the kid, save the world.
But
the cheerleader.
he is
Paraphrasing.
He blows off everyone and everything to save this kid, not his closest friend, his roommate. He everything just to save this kid, and like that's a douchey move. Sully's a douchebag.
I mean, Waternoose kidnap 1,000 children before he lets his company die. Listen, Sully only needed one. Sully only needed one.
We don't know. We don't know. Maybe there was a point between University and this movie where Sully had a kid, lost the kid. Maybe there's some other context there we don't have. But those paternal instincts kicked in, and he needed to save this because he feels responsible for what's happening to Boo because he inadvertently kept Boo in their world or let Boo into their world or whatever. Right? If you were to run across a 2-year-old in the street alone, what would you do, TJ?
I would help it, but I wouldn't throw my best friend in this fucking snow and tell him to go, like, screw himself to help the kid. Because that's what he's doing. He's throwing away.
It's kind of like you're with me or you're against me.
The well-being of a child and sacrificing his relationship with his best friend to do it.
Toxic relationships,
that's a douchey thing.
but also
It's not a
toxic
douchey
relationships.
thing. It's a trope,
You know,
it's a trope of the reluctant hero. It always has been throughout all of cinema.
And it's still douchey. The reluctant hero's a reluctant douchebag.
Sully's able to free Boo from the creepy
quote.
blowjob machine and destroys it and starts fighting Randall. Mike comes in to save the day and knocks Randall out. And then there's this... You thought the conveyor belt segment in Toy Story 2 was elaborate and overblown. We see the behind the scenes of this factory, and there are thousands of doors on
that's definitely
around.
That's definitely on oddly satisfying.
One of the coolest things about that whole scene is every single one of those doors is a real-time object, and so literally it took like thousands of rendering hours to get them all, and most of them are on screen for literally like 12 frames. It is insane.
It's painstaking for how little content there is out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm going to segue to a different segment.
Literally, the note I have for this is that Pixar went through a phase where they're all like, we need to create the genre of conveyor belt porn.
100%.
They like Toy Story 2 were like, this is good, but we can do better. And they perfected it.
More.
I mean, you can say they did, but they also got back to their roots because, I mean, not to really delve into future spoilers, but I mean, there's nothing really like this in Monsters University. It's a much more grounded film in the same universe. So, fun fact there, though, is that a sequel to this film, so a sequel, not a prequel, was originally planned and was being worked on by Circle 7 Animation at Disney, titled Monsters, Inc. 2, Lost in Scaradise. The plot would have focused on Mike and Sully visiting Boo on her birthday, only to find out she'd moved. So Mike and Sully must travel through the human world to find Boo. This was canceled when Circle 7 Animation shut down. Circle 7 Animation, a division of Pixar, never actually released a movie. It was only put together to start working on sequels to Pixar projects because, as you may or may not know, the Pixar-Disney relationship was very fragile at this point in the process. There were thoughts of Pixar leaving, ending that relationship, but Disney owned the rights to make sequels to any of the original Pixar films. So they had planned and were drafting early versions of Toy Story 3 sequel to Monsters Inc. and a sequel to Finding Nemo. But when Bob Iger took over as Disney CEO in 2005, his priority was to bring Pixar internal. And when they did that, they ended up shuttering Circle 7 Animation, transferring about 80% of the studio's employees into Walt Disney Animation Studios, which was shortly renamed from the original name of Walt Disney Feature Animation. So if you're at all interested, there's a great book on this called Creativity Inc. That details the whole history of Pixar, and it's really, really well done. I recommend anyone who's listening to this show who has not, you're doing yourself a disservice not reading that book.
Hashtag not an ad.
Honestly, on the book note, while it doesn't particularly focus on Pixar for the majority, I would also throw in there, read Bob Iger's The Ride of a Lifetime. As Mitch said, Bob Iger, CEO of Walt Disney from 2005 till about, I think, 2020.
2020.
Yeah, he went through the purchase of Pixar, of Marvel, of Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, like all of those purchases. And while it does tell his chronicles his life from starting his business career to the Fox merger, it gives a lot of light on how Disney and Pixar work together. It's a really interesting read.
There's a really great anecdote that he said, like around that time he was at the opening of Hong Kong Disneyland and realized that Disney needed Pixar because all of the characters in the parade at Hong Kong Disneyland that were less than 10 years old were all Pixar characters. So Disney hadn't produced anything in the last 10 years that met the same level of fan engagement as Pixar.
Unfortunately, we needed more Treasure Planet characters, you know?
We didn't. We really didn't.
No, we really did.
To get back to the
We'll get to it.
To get back to the door segment though, this really should be a theme park ride, right?
Yeah.
This
It'd be an
should
interesting
theme
one.
park ride, and it's not, because we do have a few theme park rides to discuss in Pixar Guys Talk Theme Park Rides.
Pixar guys, we're talking about them theme park rides.
Thank you and welcome again to this edition of Pixar Guys Talk Theme Park Rides. We have 3 rides to discuss today, the first of which opened in 2001 at Disneyland California's resort in California Adventure. This is Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue. This is a dark ride attraction, opened in January of 2006. It actually replaced one of the most maligned rides at Disney's California Adventure, the short-lived Superstar Limo Dark Ride. For anyone who has seen the Imagineering story, it is talked about as one of the worst things Disney has ever produced in a theme park. And there's an audio animatronic of the character Roz at the end of the ride, and it is the only figure that is fully animated, complete with a moving mouth and interactivity.
Damn.
The second ride in our trifecta here is Monsters Inc. Ride and Go Seek, which opened in 2009 in Tokyo Disneyland. It is very similar to the ride in California, except it's a light gun game as well. So there's targets to shoot out with a gun in the car, and they interact and they do things in the ride, which is really neat. But the one I want to focus on, because it's the one that's closest to me, and of course it's going to be one in Orlando, and that's Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. This is a comedy club attraction in Tomorrowland at Disney's Magic Kingdom Resort, which opened in April of 2007. This attraction, it features the voices of Billy Crystal and Roz. They're the only 2 characters from the films to show up. But it's actually a live comedy show where there are other monsters in the scenes that are actually being voiced in real time by other cast members that are in the studio. And they focus on audience members and make jokes and involve the audience in the show. And it's really, really fun. The fun fact I have here is they'll spotlight different people throughout the show, and they'll give them roles. So when we went, thankfully it's been a few weeks since I shaved my face, because when we went, I had the beard, and they highlighted me in our show as Sully. So I was the Sully of our show. So anytime they'd spotlight me, I had to like roar or do something stupid. And it's a lot of fun because you're in a room of strangers and you're all just having a good time laughing, which plays on the idea of Monsters Inc. having transitioned to a laugh factory. And it's a ton of fun. It's a great way to get out of the sun, get into some air conditioning, and have a laugh with some really well written or really well done. It's basically improv at that point with the actors that are there. So it's really, really fun.
That's pretty cool.
That
I really like that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Unfortunately, as part of the the measures put in place at Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, all of the cast members that worked on this attraction and gave like the comedy performances were laid off, and this ride is not operating currently. Hopefully, as the world starts to go back to normal, they can rehire those actors to put on this show because it's a blast.
Boo.
Yes, that is a
Ooh,
character.
Cody.
That's another one.
That is a character in the movie, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah. Guys, I watched it.
You watched the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. In this whole scene, where they're using Boo's laughter to activate the doors and do all this thing, jumping in and out of rooms and doing all this stuff. My question here: every door in the world was activated at that point by Boo's laughter. Why aren't there random humans walking into their closet and falling to their death?
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know that there wasn't.
There should be
That's
hundreds
a
of
great
humans
That's a
walking
That's
into the
great
world.
that's the
question.
and they're
spin-off.
not.
That's the spin-off Disney Plus show, is the cleanup from the
Like, do
CDC.
the doors only work one way? Like, they have to be open from the monster world, or what? Like, I don't know. But all
What
the
I
doors
want-
should be activated from the human side.
Of like
That's
the
interesting.
20 or 30 people that listen to this podcast, if one of you happens to be an animation student, I'm about to pitch you your final project for animation school, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So take this scene. They're trying to save Boo, whatever. All of a sudden, doors are opening. Characters follow. Throw the Benny Hill music over it to add some goofy times. You'll have like Shaggy will run through, fall to his death. Darth Sidious comes through, falls to his death, and just characters from different pop culture movies and shows
That
just start
fall.
coming through. Yeah,
Mufasa.
that fall. Just Mufasa comes
Mufasa
through.
somehow finds a human closet and walks through.
Jesus.
Yeah, Woody. You can do Woody because
Yep,
he falls.
he does
in
fall
that,
through the cards. You're right.
Yeah, like just a dumb time. Do it and then give me a producer credit.
Yeah, so we get a whole chase scene of Mike and Sully chasing after Randall, trying to get Boo back. And ultimately, they're able to stop him and throw him into a door, banish him to the human world. As they're throwing him into the door, you see another Nemo on the wall of the room he's thrown into. And when it cuts to the scene of him being in the trailer, this is actually a shot-for-shot use of the same scene from Bug's Life. It's the same scene, same trailer, same Pizza Planet truck. And they proceed to probably kill him because they think he's an alligator.
Maybe.
So
He did.
that sucks.
Yeah.
At this point, the whole ruse is exposed. Water Noose is caught on tape in the simulator as saying what was it, Nick? Sorry?
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die, or something like that.
Close enough. So
Can
with that
I
being
can I do
exposed,
the next part with the CDA as well?
You can do it right now.
All right. Well.
So it turns out that Roz was actually a sleeper spy or operative of the CDA who'd infiltrated Monsters Incorporated to try and reveal this plot that no one knew about until this happened, and is revealed to be the head of the CDA. Why is the head of your organization going undercover?
Well,
I did not realize it's her.
you see, Mitchell, it's a very
Well, no, actually,
interesting
it's really funny.
operation.
Every time the CDA showed up at Monsters Inc., she'd close the shade on her desk. So as to
You
not
would
reveal
know
to the
if
other
you
CDA people.
Filled out your paperwork. Yeah,
Of course
Mitch.
she knows paperwork. She's the head of an organization. So Roz allows Mike and Sully specifically one last opportunity to say goodbye to Boo before she's put through her door and her door is put through the shredder. So Sully takes her back.
When you
There's
said
a
put
Jess
through
calling
her
her.
door, yeah, that's when they put her down. That's where my brain went. I'm sorry, guys. It's fucked up. I know.
They took her out back.
We're back in Boo's room. She starts handing toys, or we see a Pixar ball. She
Jessie
starts
doll.
handing toys to Sully because she wants to play with Kitty. Hands him a Jessie, hands him a Nemo. We see another Nemo here. Before Finding Nemo had even been announced. But he has to sadly say goodbye to his little friend. Her door is shredded. And we see that Monsters Incorporated has been taken over by Mike and Sully, and they've turned it into a laugh factory. Because as we all know, laughter more powerful than sadness, anger, fear. Because what does fear do, Nick?
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Okay.
Also that scene, very fucking sad.
Yeah.
It's very
It
fucking
tugs
sad.
on your heartstrings.
So
Unless you're T-Guy.
Yeah, didn't tug on my heartstrings at all there. It
You're a
was
monster.
You're a real monster.
You are
It
Monsters
was-
Incorporated.
It was like, okay, yeah, it's sad, but like I'm not like, it didn't make me like want to cry or tear up or anything. I will say though, thinking about it, Boo was in the monster world for at least 24 hours.
Correct.
Where are her parents? Like, because
Maybe
their child's been missing.
Maybe
Time
time moves
travel.
differently.
The doors do not, like, that adds credence to the whole this is all magic and it's time travel, because they found a way to harness this energy to go to the past, because they probably put her back in the same night that she went missing, supposedly, probably not 5 minutes later, because most parents, you can ask any parent, they're going to check on their kids multiple times a night, especially at that age when you got to make them go potty and then you sprain your foot or
And
some
then,
shit like
then
that.
they get a Lego stuck
Oh.
up their nose.
Like a
Yeah,
Lego
that
in the nose,
happens
yeah.
to
It's very
losers,
specific.
am
It's weird that you
I
brought it up
right?
like that too. It's weird.
You're not. It happens to all of us, TJ, and it's not just when we're kids. So yeah, we get this heartbreaking scene where they're separated, and the Laugh Factory goes on to continue to produce energy. All of the monsters have transitioned to, writing jokes and making kids laugh. Which, if you were a kid doing all this laughing in the middle of the night, would your parents not come in the room and be like, "Why are you laughing?" And then when the kid says, "There's a monster in my closet and he's funny," would you not then think your child is possessed by some otherworldly demon?
I don't think the kids say anything.
In my mind, it's a two-way street. So you get the laughs first, and then the parents get angry, and then you get the screams after.
Double the energy.
Double the energy. We've solved the crisis.
And it might just be normal in this world. We're going in with just like the fact of, oh, well, this is just a normal world, but it might just be normal that monsters come through the closet, you know?
I mean, the other thing to note too is with this next scene, we find out Mike's put Boo's door back together. Sully has the last piece, puts it in. He's reunited with Boo. If they're continuing this relationship, it does add a lot of credence to Carmen's conspiracy theory that Boo is somehow involved in the greater Pixar cinematic universe because she's so exposed to these things that don't make sense in our normal day-to-day of magic doors and screams and laughter, our energy and all of these things, that it does make a lot of sense that she's somehow explored these things as she grew and found some way to either get back to her door and get into their world and steal some time travel magic or something like that. And I don't know. It's craziness, but that is the way Monsters Inc. ends, and it ends on what I will argue is the best Randy Newman song to have been written. What was the name of the song again? I forget.
You wouldn't have nothing if you didn't have me.
No, I want the actual name of it. If I Didn't Have You.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great place to transition into ranking the Randy.
Hold on.
Wait.
Just gonna say, y'all called me heartless, but that last scene.
That last scene's
where
very.
he opens the door and he
yeah.
says "boo" and all
They
you hear
say
is "kitty."
Great.
That one got me.
Good.
That got me. The first one did, but that got me.
They both got
And we get
me.
into the first Academy Award winning Randy Newman
Wait,
joint.
we
If
didn't-
I Didn't Have
we-
You in the end credits.
We didn't do the rank in the Randys. Okay, there you go. Now you can continue.
All right, welcome back to Ranking the Randys, where each week we rank the songs by Randy Newman that he's written and produced for the Pixar Cinematic Universe. And as things stand, our top 5 is Strange Things at number 5, Everything Randy Newman Did in A Bug's Life at number 4, Sailing at number 3, When Someone Loves Me at number 2, and You've Got a Friend in Me at number 1. I feel like this is number 1. I think it's
No.
phenomenal. I think it's really well performed. I think John Goodman and Billy Crystal did a great job with this.
I think it
It's
is.
not as ubiquitous, like it's not as synonymous with Pixar as
I
You've
think
Got a
it's-
Friend in Me, but I think it's the best song.
I think
can you
it's
go
very
through the list
close.
again?
At number 5, you've got Strange Things. At number 4, there's what Randy Newman produced for A Bug's Life. At number 3, you have Sailing. Number 2, when someone loves me. And at number 1, You've Got a Friend in Me.
Is this the 5th movie? How do we have 5?
This is the
Because they
6th
have just
movie.
multiple ones in.
There are
because
multiple
Salen
sections
and.
on
Would you like me to
So
sing them
multiple
for you, TJ?
one.
No. I'm coming in here with a hot take.
Ooh.
I think this should be number whatever the last one is.
Really?
And my reasoning behind it, because I didn't even remember this song. And when you said "If I Didn't Have You," I thought of a different, much better song. The "If I Didn't Have You" from Quest for Camelot, when the two dragons sing it to each other, because it's the same name, better song. Bite me.
Okay, so he thinks who thinks this is better than Strange Things?
Oh, easy.
Show of hands. Better than Randy Newman's work in A Bug's Life. Again, TJ getting outvoted. Who thinks it's better than Sailing? And the 3 hands other than TJ stay up. You're the tiebreaker here, honey. Who thinks it's better than When Someone Loves Me?
Oh wait, yeah, I do think it's better than that.
Okay. And who thinks it's better than You've Got a Friend in Me at number 1? Okay. I'm outvoted. So as it stands, If I Didn't Have You goes in at number 2 in ranking them Randys.
Audience, go and listen to "If I Didn't Have You" from Quest for Camelot, and you'll see that I am just correct. It is the far better song.
It's not.
Okay.
Because that's the only thing I can think of.
Time to get into some short stuff where we rank all of the Pixar theatrical shorts that accompany Pixar films. Nick, you got something for short stuff?
Short stuff. It's short stuff. Short stuff. It's short stuff. Short stuff.
That's pretty good. Okay, welcome again to Short Stuff, which I gave a new name here because it was the first thing I thought of because I didn't want to use the word rank in another list that we make on the show. So, the short that we watched for this film was For the Birds, released in 2000 by Pixar. I believe it also won the Academy Award. Yes, it did. It did win the Academy Award for Best Animated Short at the Oscars that year. It features a big old bird on a telephone line and then some other little birds being real jerks. And then the jerk birds get their comeuppance, and that's the end of the short. So, as I pull up our list, right now the list stands at number 3, we have Tin Toy. At number 2, we have Luxo Jr. And at number 1, we have Jerry's Game. So, For the Birds, first, what do we think? And then we'll figure out where we're going to rank it.
I mean,
It's cute.
it's fine.
It is.
Yeah.
It is really cute. I think the other birds. I remember just watching this as a kid and just hating every single one of those birds. I'm like, why he's just because he's taller than y'all. Also taller than y'all. Dumb. It's real fucking dumb to make fun of somebody who's 10 times your size. So yeah.
Yeah, he could. I mean, it's the old idea of would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
How many kids could you take out? You know, like.
We're not getting into that. So right now, like I said, number 3 is Tin Toy, number 2 Luxo Jr., number 1 Jerry's Game. By show of hands, who thinks this is a better short than Tin Toy?
Dude,
Okay.
this short sucks.
TJ,
Not as much as Tin Toy.
Remember Tin Toy?
Do you
Yeah,
remember
Tin Toy
Tin
is-
Toy?
Yeah,
Like no
not
child?
good.
Tin Toy. Okay, you wanna know? I do remember Tin Toy. And the fact is, when you mentioned the short earlier, I had a panic because I'm like, did I fucking watch the short for this week? And I did. It's just so forgettable.
You
So
know what?
is Tin
TJ's got
Toy.
me. TJ's got me. I'm
Ooh,
putting my
okay,
hand
Oh.
we
down.
got it tied. Me and Nick feel like
Yeah.
it's better than Tin Toy.
It wasn't going
Alex
much
and TJ
higher
do
than
not.
that.
Carmen, does it go higher than Tin Toy on the list of animated shorts? Tin Toy was the one with the little tin toy and the creepy baby that looked
Gross
like Play-Doh.
baby.
No. Huh?
Wow.
For the Birds is higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So does anyone think it's
that-
better than
no.
Luxo Jr.?
No.
Okay. So it ends there. So the list is as it stands. At number 4, you have Tin Toy. Number 3, you have For the Birds. At number 2, you have Luxo Jr. At number 1, you have Jerry's Game. And I actually had already populated our letterbox list with that in the number 3 spot because I figured that's where it was going. Now,
Yeah.
we get into what is probably going to be the most controversial discussion we've had to date. Where does this film rank in terms of the other Pixar Cinematic Universe films? Do we want to get into the voting? Do we want to have any
Right.
final words?
First-
Right now, I
Do
just
we
want to put the rankings. The rankings are number
Okay.
1, Toy Story 2, number 2, Toy Story, and number 3, A Bug's Life.
I
What
mean,
are
the
we
list
putting?
was already fucked after last week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, fuck you, TJ.
I don't know about that. Again, they're all
Hey,
like
I made a good argument.
he made a good argument. I think. That's the
I think
thing.
Alex, unfortunately we have to vote strategically here because this is better than a film that is higher than another better film on the list. But we have to say it's
No.
better than it so it doesn't get stuck at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely not at the
Listen,
bottom.
right?
It's definitely not at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
100%
Okay.
way to
I
the
will
bottom.
say I had a lot. I've had a lot of thinking on this, especially both after watching the film and during this recording. I think if I had if I had seen this younger and had the attachment that I have with Toy Story and Toy Story 2, I could see this potentially being a number 2. But based on just like what I've seen and like seeing it as an adult and and especially the fact that now I cannot even remember the song for the movie. All I think about is Quest for Camelot. It is a solid 3. Like, it is about
It is a very solid 3. And we're talking.
Wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have.
Wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you. Anyways, yes, I 100% agree with it. We are talking about 10 out of 10 giants. Any day, I could rank the Toy Story movies differently. But, except for one. But, I think this is number 3.
Okay, we'll vote by show of hands, and as always, Carmen is our tiebreaker. So who thinks this is a better film than A Bug's Life? Show of hands. Everyone's hands are up. Who thinks this is a better film than the original Toy Story, knowing that Toy Story 2 is ranked above it, and we're split? Alex and I both think
Yeah.
it's better than
No.
Toy Story. TJ and Nick
Okay,
and I
no,
with that caveat.
tiebreaker.
Ugh.
Is Monsters Inc. a better film than Toy Story? Yes. Okay. On to our next vote. Is Monsters
not
Inc. a
better
better
than Toy
film
Story
than
2.
Toy Story 2 by show of hands?
It's not.
It
It's
really
not.
is,
The
though.
world building in Toy
And
Story
Carmen?
2. The world
tie
building.
again.
The world building is
It's
so
a tie
much better
again.
in
What are we
Monsters
saying?
Inc.
No, Carmen.
Number one.
I
our
will
new
divorce you.
number-
Yes. Thank you,
Our
Carmen.
number one
Thank you for being
is
sensible.
Monsters Inc. due to the tiebreak from
You
my
did
wife.
this,
So the
TJ.
list as stands. At number 4, we
We
have
did
A
this.
Bug's Life. At number 3, we have Toy Story. At number 2, we have Toy Story 2. And our new number 1 is Monsters Incorporated.
I want to recount. I'm going to institute lawsuits in Pennsylvania and in Florida.
Y'all are Canadian. I'm the only American here.
As always, thank you so very much for tuning into this episode of YYZ Video. Let us know what your rankings are in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, share with all your friends on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you be. Please, we appreciate it so very much. You can check out Press YYZ and our other products over on Twitter, also here on YouTube, over on Twitch, any podcast service where you might consume either Press YYZ, a video game podcast, or this very show, YYZ Video. And of course, the rest of us are where we are on the internet. Nick, quick plug.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Shaka McPain everywhere. At Shaka McPain on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and you can also check out some of my editing work over at MC Fixer and more MC Fixer. I'm trying to get some freelance work, so if you're looking for an editor, I could be your guy, you know?
Alex.
I am on Instagram at blatantlyalex and Twitter at blatantly_Alex and on Letterboxd at Alex Loves Memes.
The frustrated one.
You can find me on everything, specifically Twitter at Private Jeebus. That's PVTTJEBUS, where I'll be complaining about the heresy that just took place and
How do you think
the
I felt
bullshit
last
rankings.
week? This
That
wouldn't
is
be about
this
Toy Story. You
YYZ
didn't do this
video.
last week.
I don't think it's that.
You
Like,
didn't do
honestly,
this.
like, I'm not upset. Like, I'm just like, okay.
You can
Yeah.
find
There's
me all
no
over the internet
world
at
where
Mr. Mitch
Bos-
George. And until next time, we'll see you at the movies.
Ha ha ha! You should have filled out your paperwork, TJ.
Take care.